I just wanted to share a revelation that I have just received. And I was just moved to tears. I'm reading this book and meditating on this book by Joseph Prince, which is called Spiritual Warfare. And it's unlike any spiritual warfare book or message that I've ever heard. This is about resting in the Father's love, which is constant and fixed, and learning by beholding Christ to inherit effortlessly. And so here, this is a chapter on the gospel of peace. And the gospel of peace is about, the shoes. And so I'm just going to straight to the revelation that I received is in John 14:27, where Jesus says, "My peace I leave to you. My peace I leave to you." English is my fourth language. So there's certain sounds that are more challenging for me to to speak. So leave is very challenging for me to say. So actually it's my peace I leave with you. And what I've just learned in the book is that when he says he leaves his peace to us, is that Pastor Prince says here in the book, it says, "I bequeath my peace to you." So Jesus's peace is our inheritance. It's not something that we feel here and there. It is our inheritance. And so I will read exactly what Pastor Prince says here. He says, that what the word bequeath means, to give or leave an inheritance by will after one's death. So when Jesus died at the cross, he bequeathed to us his peace. And all we have to do is receive that peace. And then furthermore, he says that he would have spoken to his fellow Jew. And so he would have said, "My shalom, shalom, I bequeath to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you." And so the revelation that I received is that, some of you may have known a little bit about my story, is that when I was conceived, my parents were going through great, 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 great adversities where their lives were being threatened. And so my mom, the entire time that she was pregnant with me, she was not at peace, and she was heartbroken by a friend that both my parents considered as a brother. And so she was heartbroken over the betrayal, of a circumstance. And the way that I found out about it is because I studied at the Jacob School of Music at Indiana University, Bloomington, Indiana, and I was blessed. And I know that is by God's supernatural divine intervention that my harp teacher, Peter Eagle, he did not know how to relate to me because I was extremely depressed. I didn't even know it. It was a way of life for me. I didn't know there was any other way. And so he introduced me to Camilla Williams, who took me into her voice studio. And just to put in perspective, to show you how powerful that is, how much of a blessing and a miracle, is that in the School of Music, we had over like 3,000 students that were voice majors. And most of them would have to wait till their senior year. Some of them were blessed that their senior year, they would have a professor to be their teacher, voice teacher. But many of them had to wait till their senior year. Here I was, a freshman harp performance major. And she accepted me in her voice studio. And so I studied with an AI that was studying her name was Kathy. She was studying for her doctoral degree in voice, I think voice performance. So I studied with her maybe for 1 or 2 semesters, possibly. And Miss Williams became my voice teacher either my second semester as a freshman or my sophomore year. So I had my own professor of voice as a harp performance major my sophomore year, whereas other students had to wait till their junior or senior year and they were voice major. So that is God's favor. And God positioned me in her studio because she is a person of great faith. And through singing, she taught me the gospel. She taught me about the Lord. And so one day, and she would talk to you about anything. She will dig into your life and she would just put it to you straight. So it's like, if you are faint at heart, do not step into Camilla Williams' voice studio, because she talks about all of your business and she'll put it right in your face. And so what she told me one day, she said, Joseph, she said, I have never seen anybody so depressed as you. And she had lived and been all over the world, performed all over the world. And she told me, Joseph, I've never seen anybody so depressed as you. She told me, when you go home, I want you to ask your mom what she was going through when she was pregnant with you. And I had never thought about that. And I know this was the Lord. This was inspired by the Holy Spirit. So the next break, I think it was the Christmas break, I went home to Montreal. And, we lived in Westmount, a municipality of Montreal. And I asked my mom. And that's when my mom shared with me that at that time, I will spare you some of the detail. However, it had to do with the betrayal of their friend. And I know that God, He works everything together for our good. And now looking back, it was God's divine hand that allowed that friend to even betray them, or seemingly betray, because in the long run, it ended up being a blessing. So, however, at the time she was pregnant with me and my dad had been taken away. And so not only she was not with my dad and they were, she knew that he was, you know, in just a very uncertain environment where he was being mistreated in so many ways. So her heart was broken on that level. Then her heart was broken because of the betrayal of the friend. And then she would still see the friend, walking about, and they were not talking. And then the few times that she was able to connect with my dad, I don't even know that it was maybe once or twice, I don't know. She couldn't share with him her pain because she knew that he was going through even more pain. So she held everything inside her. And she said the entire pregnancy, she was crying deep, deep, deep pain. That's what she felt the whole time of the pregnancy. And so, me, as the child inside her womb, I received all of that pain, all of, that uncertainty, all of that energy of the betrayal, you know. So for me today to read that Jesus's peace is my inheritance, it's not like a temporary state of mind. It's my inheritance. He died at the cross for me that I would have that peace. And so, Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So that means He can go into my past. And even when I was in my mother's womb and all of that strife, all of that pain, all of that betrayal, I am healed of it now. Through my entire life, everything that was not aligned with the promises of God, He is healing right now. And that just blessed me. I'm like, what? I don't have to strive for this peace. It's a shalom and it's restoration in every area of your life. And so I thought I would just share, and just many of you, whoever is watching, Just put it in the Lord's hands. Cast your cares upon him, for he cares for you. 1 Peter 5:7. And whatever you have experienced that's not in line with the peace, just receive the peace that Jesus has paid for you. As he died at the cross for you, and as you, on the third day, he was risen from the dead. And when he released his spirit, he bequeathed his peace to you. So that's your inheritance. And I just wanted to share that with you today. Just receive your inheritance of peace. And really, this is just, the eyes have been pulled away, the scales have been removed from my eyes. And so I would just suggest, this powerful ministry of Joseph Prince's book, Spiritual Warfare. Blessings to you all, and thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and leave a comment of your biggest takeaway, or however the Holy Spirit is moving on your heart in your life. So be encouraged, be encouraged, be encouraged, and blessings.